Hello, everybody from YouTube land with my glasses that got broken yesterday because a dog chewed on them. So I had to put them back together. So anyway, y'all, you guys know that, my channel has been sporadic over the years, my YouTube channel. And just like when Hugh Jackman said he's done playing Wolverine, I said I was done with my YouTube channel. And, the call for attention, it just always overwhelms me. But what I was gonna say, you guys, I wanted to kind of slowly come back. I did officially announce that I closed the channel, but like anybody else, man, you see like Matt Damon goes back to play Jason Bourne in that movie and so forth. Sean Connery went back to play James Bond, etc. Sometimes you just have that urge. You need to step away for a minute, then you want to get back on the horse. And as you guys can see, I had started a little bit of another YouTube channel. That was just because I was, just kind of experimenting, going through some things. You see artists do that. But my main intention of this video is, I don't give a damn about the algorithm and YouTube popularity. Screw all that stuff, is nonsense. Basically, I just wanted to come back and say that I told you guys before that I wanted to. I actually was in film school when I was much younger, when I was in my early 20s. And I've done short films, extra work, grip work, editing classes. I went to Second City in Chicago for a little bit, where Belushi and the SNL old school crew went. I was an extra on Against the Ropes with Meg Ryan, if anybody remembers that movie way back when they shot in Cleveland, my hometown, where I'm from. And excuse me, y'all. And there's just many other things. And I've been making home movies since I was like 13 years old. You can see on my YouTube channel, I got a homemade Michael Myers movie that I made. I actually made that film about a month or two after Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers came out. And I did see that in theaters. And I still do actually have the ticket. I used to collect movie tickets. I still have a bunch of them, like Demolition Man and The Program, if anybody remembers that movie. I'm an old guy. That's the one with James Conner and the college kids. I did see that scene where the kids got ran over in the street in the theater at the time, before they took it out. It's on YouTube. But anyway, so I finally decided, okay, I was feeling like, okay, not successful with YouTube. I'm a failure at YouTube. Okay, fine, whatever. Who gives a damn? So I stepped away. And I said, okay, my intention was never really to be, super YouTuber, podcaster person. I've always loved dissecting films, talking about films. That was like, you saw me do those things when I was on the podcast Region Free, formerly Sausage Factory, years ago. But I finally decided I want to step back in, and I wanted to just say that I want to get back to... I've been working my way back to actually working towards trying to pursue real films and be a part of filmmaking. So not so much like I'm not trying to do anything like, where I'm running around to Atlanta, paying my own plane tickets and putting up my own room and board to be an extra in some movie down in Atlanta. I'm not doing all that. I'm too old. But I'm talking more about independent, local films within states that are like close to me or around town and things like that. Low budget filmmaking. That's kind of where my head is at right now. So I had decided, I was over some friend's house, and my videos are always long-winded, y'all. You know that, so bear with me. So I was over a friend's house, and I was criticizing a certain filmmaker. And kind of my friends and some of their in-laws were getting very upset that I was criticizing this filmmaker, as if, and I wasn't being rude, I was just saying I don't think this works or that works and blah, blah, blah. That's just what I do. You know what I mean? Like, like people who love professional sports, or people who love, to cook. They'll criticize cooking, or women who do hair. They'll criticize people doing hair. That's just what I do. But, I think when you're talking in circles of people who aren't creators, they aren't actors, they aren't writers, they aren't directors, these are just blue collar people, they look at it like you're just talking trash. So anyway, well, one of my friends in-laws challenged me and was like, well, you just keep talking about his movies. Why don't you make your own? Right? So I said, oh, okay. So the way that I work is really literally how Monty is as a person is that I don't quit. I don't give up. You guys notice throughout the years, who've been with my channel throughout the years, you notice you'll see times where there'll be blocks where I'll be gone, then I'll come back. You know, and keeping up a YouTube channel is extremely hard, especially when you got other things going on in life. You know, sometimes relatives passing away and, you know, other kind of adult things that happen when you're a middle-aged man like myself and others. So, you know, you have some tough times and you can't always keep up on your content like you want to. So I just decided when she said that to me, I was like, okay, I'm going to take on this. Okay, you got it. You know, because the one thing about me, because I have like this unwielding, just never give up kind of thing. I mean, I could get smacked around, beat down, and I literally will just keep going. And I don't know how I do it. I can just keep going nonstop. I'm outside, y'all, so it was nice today, so that's why I wanted to come outside. But so I don't stop. So when she issued that challenge to me, that was when the wheels in my head started turning, and I started thinking back to when I used to make those home movies when I was a kid, when I was in acting classes, when I was in film school, or like even the other time. See, you guys, those of you out there who've been in film school, you notice when you go to film school, it's very, very competitive. I mean, just like in all this YouTube stuff, it's all competitive and it gets very, very nasty. And when I was in film school, one of the things I used to hate was I thought it would be like, oh man, will you get together with some cats and man, I could direct his movie, he could direct mine, I can act in his, I'm gonna do lighting. No, it wasn't like that at all. Cats was clicking up. I would have like all these ideas. And like when I had these ideas in film school, this is 2005. So I had like you see all these retro horror films that are like on Tubi and stuff, retro to the 80s, Terrifier, all this kind of stuff. I had an idea for a holiday themed slasher movie way back in '05. And I had a writing class where our professor literally worked in the business and she was teaching college and she taught us how to do movie pitches. And I pitched this idea and the whole class was like, oh no, nobody cares about scary movies. That's because I was in a room full of, I'm being nice, guys. Softies, I just call them that. Some sweetie pies and some softies and punks who, it's not scary. They don't understand the genre. You know, they'll look at something like Jason X and they think that is the entire genre. So Jason X, Candyman, Pet Sematary, The Exorcist, those are all interchangeable to people who don't love the genre. Those of us who love it, we could clearly go Jason X is Jason X, but The Exorcist is, my God, it's amazing. You know, so it's a difficult road when you're trying to be creative, and especially when people don't understand it. And most normal people who work regular jobs, I'm a blue collar worker, they don't understand this movie thing. So they don't understand your creativity. So I said, okay, I got to block out all the noise and I got to get back to that 13-year-old. So I thought, okay, I criticized this particular person, and what is it I don't like about their films? So I start going over in my head, and then I go, what is it? And I used to write scripts when I was 12, 13 years old. Like, I had an idea. Check this. You guys remember there's a movie called, and I try to stay focused, but there's a movie called Hard Rain with Morgan Freeman and Christian Slater. It was a disaster movie from 1998. It was supposed to be called The Flood and got pushed back. But anyway, when I think it was around the time, I don't know, it might have been 8th grade maybe, or 7th grade, I had literally wrote down on a notebook piece of paper an action movie and a disaster movie combined together. This is years before Hard Rain came out. As a matter of fact, that was when Twister came out, 1996. I remember it. It's on a piece of paper. I wrote it. I actually even wrote a title for a movie when I was in 6th grade called Rush Hour. That's because I used to look at the Cleveland Plain Dealer and I saw all the advertisements for Speed and it said, get ready for Rush Hour. And I actually had that title written down. Years later, 1998, it's a Jackie Chan movie. So anyway, I said, what movies would I want to see? Hardcore 80s, just gritty action films, like 70s movies like The Last Boy Scout, obviously the original Lethal Weapon, 48 Hours. Now, Tango and Cash, I do like Tango and Cash very much, but obviously I'm talking about a different caliber. You know, Last Boy Scout, Lethal Weapon, 48 Hours is a different caliber than Tango and Cash, you know. And I also really missed kind of that Joel Silver era of just like politically incorrect, just nasty old school action movies like Die Hard 2. You know what I mean? I choose Die Hard 2 because of how really mean spirited it is. I rewatched it again recently and I was kind of shocked. I was like, there's a lot of stuff in this movie they couldn't get away with now. But I mean, wow. I mean, the terrorists are like gunning down like 80-year-old priests in churches and crashing planes full of women and children. It's insane. But I was like, I want to get back to those films because, and in particular, and I'm gonna go here a little bit, I wanted to see those type of films again of that Joe Silver, kind of the one-liners, and I think Stallone he tried to get to that with the Expendables, but he was on track with the first one. Number two, they got more on track, but they took some step backs with some other things they did. They made it too goofy. And then three was horrible. I hated it. Mel Gibson was good in it, but I hate everything about Expendables 3. Just total betrayal to what Stallone was trying to do. PG-13. You got Ronda Rousey. I mean, why? Why is this like this? So when John Wick hit the scene, I love John Wick because those are like the closest to that Joe Silver era. Only different because it's very highly stylized martial arts. The gunplay is closer to accuracy than things you'd see in those 80s. I mean, if you look at like Die Hard 2 or some of the Lethal Weapon movies, I mean, yeah, there is. You do kind of see like some, I don't know what you call it, military or policeman kind of style, I don't know what it's called, like is flanking and leapfrogging. I might be saying that wrong. Excuse me from my fellow servicemen or police officers. I could be wrong. Correct me if I am. But you see some of that. I noticed a little bit of that in Lethal Weapon 3, the way Riggs and Murtaugh and Lorna comes and they shoot from different angles. But anyway, what I'm saying is John Wick got a little bit more correct and more stylized and accurate with the gunplay. But I really wanted to see those type of movies again, so I just decided to write my version of a Joel Silver kind of 80s, 90s actioner that's a hard R. And I finished the script. The script is finished. It's 88 pages. Now, what I learned from script class is that it's a minute per page on film. So obviously I have to write 3 more scenes because I know the script like the back of my head. And I actually started writing the script so let's see, I got the challenge, like, why don't you make your own? That might have been like around the holidays. And I started the script probably like around June of this past summer, last year. And I completed it in about November of 2025. So it's done, but obviously, so I think that the story is completely there. The characters, I like it. Obviously, there's problems. There's some, formatting errors. I mean, I'm using a script software, so it's the kind where you kind of have to be a little bit more diligent about it being professionally, like a professional filmmaker. So I got to go back and fix some formatting. When you're writing at work and when you're writing at the coffee shop, wherever you're writing, sometimes, you do have grammar issues. I know how to write, but I mean, obviously when you're typing, sometimes words come out wrong, You might say there and you don't mean like over there, you mean like they are there, So there's like stuff like that needs to be corrected. But, and I had a couple people look at it who are close to me. But the issue is that, see, most of my family and friends don't have any aspirations to make films, nor do they want to be in the business, nor do they really understand like how to read scripts and things like that. So I guess my question to y'all is that something that's missed? Like the gritty men being men, one-liners, super violent, politically incorrect, like just like, like the scene in Predator where all the fellas get off the helicopter. Like, it's just that testosterone energy. And really, in particular, and I wanted it to have the character, the lead, be black. Because, I'll be quite honest, I think Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan are really like the only cats who are like really making stuff that make black dudes look like men. Like men. Like masculine men. So, and that's something I really want to get back to, because I just want to see a movie where we could just be dudes again, man. Like, you know, like just like, hey, like Bruce Willis, like the lines he says in The Last Boy Scout, like water is wet, the sky is blue, blah blah, I have secrets, who gives or whatever. Like I want to get back to that, like, you know, the rapport between Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy in the original 48 Hours. I mean, these dudes are throwing racial slurs at each other, and it's raw. It's just raw. So that's this the script that I've written is like that. It's a hard R. It's very dark, and it's very character driven. So I wanted it to be more like, not like a Tango and Cash kind of picture, but I wanted it to be more like yeah, like maybe more something like I said, like 48 Hours, or definitely have the, so I give you guys a wheelhouse, have the emotional impact in the character of the original Lethal Weapon, not the sequels, but the first movie. So you have the characters have raw, real, adult human emotions, and then you throw in the kind of the fake theatrical movie violence, and it's hyper violent. I mean, and of course there's things that I have in the script that are part of the genre. You know, of course, the good guys use various creative implements to kill villains. You know, you know, like Die Hard 2, the icicle to the eye. You know, Kiss of the Dragon, the iron to the face. You know, that sort of stuff. You know, there's many other movies where they kill bad guys in creative ways. You know, or you know, Hard Target. You throw a gasoline can, you shoot it, and the guy blows up. You know, there's a lot of that in there. And there's a lot of one-liners. I think part of the fun I had with this script was coming up with the one-liners. And I tell you how I came up with a lot of the one-liners. A lot of the one-liners I literally came up with, it was just stuff I would just like think like while I'm at work, or like if I got frustrated in line, like at a coffee shop or something, and I'd think like, oh my God, you know, like, oh man. I mean, by the time I get to the counter, I'll be 75 years old. You know what I mean? Like, I'd think things like that, and then I'd be like, oh, that sounds like a good one-liner. Or like literally, because I worked, you know, in medical care for years and years in hospitals, and there'd literally be times when I'd have conversations with people, and they tell me certain things that had happened at other hospitals, or and even some of the things that are in the script are experiences I've had. But they're obviously just kind of twisted and not twisted like Psycho, but I mean twisted like they're not meant to reflect exactly whatever the experience or the conversation was in real life. So I have took a lot of things I experienced on the hospital floor, things I've seen in the ICUs and things like that, and kind of applied it to the movie. So it really has a very dark, it's very gritty. But I do think at moments it's funny, but it's more like Last Boy Scout 48 Hours kind of funny. It's more like a dark kind of funny. And the bad guys, they're ruthless. The villains in my story are absolutely ruthless. They're on the level of the bad guys in Cliffhanger, Die Hard 2, obviously all the films I just named. And there's certain tropes that are in it too. You know, you have the trope of one of my favorite tropes in those kind of action Joel Silver movies from the 80s and 90s is where you have the setup where the good guys. So you remember the scene, and this is a Joel Silver production, Roadhouse, right? There's a scene in Roadhouse where Dalton walks into the store, and Ben Gazzara and Jimmy are already in there terrorizing the shop owner dude. And you know, Dalton is getting ready to leave, and he walks past Jimmy. And you know, Marshall Teague, I think is his name, and Jimmy gives him that look, and that's the eye to eye when it's like, yeah, these dudes are gonna throw down. I freaking love Roadhouse, man. I love Roadhouse, and I will say the one-liners are definitely in the. I think some of them are funny, and some of them are cheesy. Some of them are like Roadhouse cheesy. There's always Barber College, you know, that kind of stuff. I thought you'd be taller, you know, that kind of stuff. But I do got some good ones in there, I think, too, that are very close to like the Last Boy Scout kind of style. So my question is one, should I let fear overtake me? And because I'm about to copyright this and try to get it out there for real. And not only do I just have that one script, I got two other scripts. So one is another genre picture, which is straight homage to Friday the 13th and all that kind of stuff. I know they got a million of them on Tubi and streaming, but hey, right there. I mean, heck, if I could sell one of these slasher holiday scripts to Tubi or something like that, I don't even give a damn how the movie turns out. I just want a writing credit on a real film, you know. Uh, but anyway, and then there's an idea for a drama that I had, like kind of like a character romantic drama, because I write drama very well too. So my question is okay, one, this is just a new project that I've taken on in my life. So one, should I do it? And number two, how will I get this out there? Number three, is there interest? Do do you guys think there is any interest in that type of film anymore? Because we're seeing the Jason Statham stuff, and John Wick 4 came out a few years ago, and that hit big. And I like John Wick 4, but I think the writing is on the wall that Keanu is, starting to, he's getting a little up there in age. And I saw the behind the scenes, the Wick of Pain documentary, and my God, Lord have mercy. I knew people got hurt on these action films, and a lot of people have died on many of these action films. I mean, they don't tell you about it, but like Tears of the Sun, Navy SEALs, there's tons of other movies. I think somebody got killed on Con Air too. Like a lot of people get killed on these films that you don't know about. But is there anyway? Keanu Reeves gets really hurt on those films, so. It looks like John Wick is kind of dying off. They did the ballerina thing. That movie, I did not like that movie. I tried, I didn't like it. And I never saw the show, The Continental. But is there still interest in the unstylized, like, gritty, men on a mission type of movie? Where it's just no CGI. It's all just raw, masculine character and raw violence and evil villains. Like, are those movies? Do you all think this would be a marketable idea? I mean, I get kind of funny now because I know from when I very first started my journey of trying to get into films and things like that, that was the early 2000s, which was a different time before the streaming. So I don't know, guys. You give me your thoughts, and that's kind of more what I want to kind of do. I'll chime in and do things where I talk about movies that I liked, and I'll give reviews and things like that. But I kind of really more want to talk about these creative projects and genre and things to try to figure out how to start making my own content, or not content, but just try to get films made independently. So I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. But I tell you, I'm not trying to be like Steven Seagal, where I don't know if you guys heard the Steven Seagal, Rob Schneider. I know like nobody will talk about Rob Schneider, but Rob Schneider said a story where I think Keenan Ivory Wayans was on Glimmerman, and Steven Seagal came out of his trailer, and he said to the producer, "I just read the best script in the world," and the producer was like, "Oh, really, Steven? Who wrote it?" And he was like, "I did." And I was like, I mean, I don't know. So I got to get this in front of some eyes of professionals to see if it has legs. I've had my friends and family. My dad told me, he said, "Oh, son, you got something there. I'm telling you." But my dad is not a part of the film business either. So who's to say? You guys give me your thoughts. If anybody is watching or cares to watch or whatever. But yeah, I'm back, guys. I'm back. I couldn't take it. I needed some more attention.